Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new NVIDIA daily update video. Let's talk about NVIDIA, an absolutely astronomical day today, 5% on the day, pretty damn beautiful stuff. Let's go over what happened, what we can expect going into the rest of the week. And if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, if you enjoy my technical analysis, thoughts, and the charts updates, well, again, I do share my thoughts, post updates every single day as the market's open, trading, etc. So definitely check that out. That link is below. For just $3 a month, includes all my Tesla updates, different time frame analysis, options, flow, and broader market updates. SPY, VIX, Qs, whatever, etc. All that stuff there. $5 a month. Includes NVIDIA as well if you're interested, and then $7 a month includes access to all my tier 3 posts, essentially non-Tesla, non-NVIDIA stocks, and access to our private Discord. We have a chat room there for tier 3 members, people day trading, sharing opinions, etc. And I do chart requests every single Sunday over on Discord. So again, we'd love to have you there, guys. But yeah, jumping into it, NVIDIA with a beautiful day today, 5% on the day, closing for the first time above the $200 level, or at least, obviously relative to the stock split that it's happened, a long time ago. But nonetheless, astronomical day, very nice stuff. Obviously today we had the, NVIDIA kind of keynote, if you will, with Jensen. Stock obviously very happy about what was said there. So let's talk about what happened today first and foremost. Now you'll see a few lines above, right? I want to delete this Fibonacci very soon. I wanted to just very quickly go over kind of what occurred today. So yesterday I mentioned how we were at the green Fibonacci's, and if there is a place for the bears to try and look for a rejection, this is it, right? This is it. But NVIDIA did something that stocks sometimes like to do when they're at a key potential resistance or support, which is, again, if you're having issues getting above it intraday, essentially as the market is actually open, you gap above it or you gap below it. So gap above a key resistance or gap below a key support. Problem solved. You got past that. That's exactly what NVIDIA did. It gapped right above it, opened up at 193, and you can see this morning, it came right into pretty much as the market opens. Go to the 15-minute time frame. Pretty much as the market opened, you can see it actually ended up just retracing right into the EMAs on the 15-minute time frame. Pretty much took this range right here that was a resistance pretty much yesterday, turned it into supports right at the green Fibonacci's as well, and essentially took those Fibonacci's and took them from a resistance to a support off of that gap up. And then obviously, it had a pretty astronomical fall through. I'll be honest, I didn't expect to fall through this aggressive. This is pretty impressive. But nonetheless, right, this is kind of what I'm talking about, where sometimes, stocks, a cheat code in the market, if there's a key resistance or support, just gap above it or below it, problem solved. That's what NVIDIA did. So now, what is next for NVIDIA? Now, I'm going to remove these Fibonacci's because that is no longer a problem, obviously. The stock has officially not only broken those fibs, but also broken this recent high over here. So the stock is in, full-blown bullish mode. Absolutely. You can't look at the stock and say it's bearish, especially after today's movement. There's nothing bearish about the stock. Now, you can absolutely make an argument. It's a little bit heated up. It's a little extended here short-term, right? If you take a look in the past of how NVIDIA performs when it's a little too extended, too quickly, too far away from the 9 EMA. For instance, here, came right back to it. Here, came back to it, right? That's kind of the only, I guess, quote unquote, bearish argument you can make, but it's not even bearish. That's more of just like, maybe it's a little too extended, but it's still in very much bullish territory. So the fact that we closed above 200 today is a good sign. As long as NVIDIA can hold 200, we can actually see one more quick pop, in my opinion, as early as tomorrow morning, honestly, like the first half of the day, 205. This stock really likes $5 increments. For instance, when we stopped over here, and over here, right? Remember we had this breakout? Where do we stop? 190. Then we had a kind of, bull fly follow through. Where do we stop? 195. Then we had that kind of deeper pullback. And now we're pretty much at 200, right? As long as NVIDIA remains above 200 in the morning, right? Pretty much in the early wee days, you can see here, right? About $200 right here. Pretty much where that 15-minute 9 EMA sits, right about $200 per share. As long as this area right here holds, we can see one more quick pop to about 205. And this is where I think people will really start getting FOMO. All right, people will get very, very high FOMO. I think a lot of people will start buying up here like, oh my God, it's going to go to 500. I can't miss this train. And they're going to buy. And then I think that's where the stock will most likely reject, right? I do think the stock will get a rejection there because, again, at that point, it'll just be extremely overextended. Like if we go to the 205 tomorrow, the 9 EMA is going to be, it'll go up a little bit higher from here. So even if it goes higher to about 190, let's say, it'll still be about 7% to the downside just to reach the 9 EMA tomorrow, of course, assuming. So it's worth understanding the fact that the stock is extended. But again, the overall perspective, what I personally actually care about is the structure. The structure went from being something that could have been a concern, which I've showed you in the past on yesterday's video, that absolutely played out and absolutely was a risk, right? You never know in this kind of markets. But the fact that we broke above those green fibs and broke this high here, Very bullish. That to me tells me that whenever we do eventually get a rejection and we start getting a small cool off and, kind of resets, get that 4-hour SMI back to at least the closer to the bottomish of the range over here, things like that. So you can see it's starting to curl now, right? You can see the SMI starting to get those curling actions, kind of like it did in these kind of instances up here, right? I do think the stock is getting closer to a top here. But again, that doesn't mean the stock is going to enter bearish mode by any means whatsoever. That just to me tells me the fact that the next pullback is going to be a bullish pullback, as opposed to if we did reject the green Fibonacci's here, the pullback could have actually been a stronger, more deeper pullback with a potential lower low back to the low 170s. Because we broke above that, that to me tells me that this pullback will be a much more bullish pullback. For instance, let's take a look at it. Let's just say we go to 205 tomorrow for just demonstrational purposes. But let's say that's also where we happen to reject, and that's just where we begin the cool off. As an example, you take the Fibonacci's now in bullish fashion, and you look at the key levels, right? The first of which is going to be pretty much 195, which is where the 382 sits, down to 0.5, which is where the 191 sits. And, if we're lucky enough, the best case scenario to get like a real nice discount for a very beautiful pullback, potential kind of, bull flaggy type setup, 188 roughly. Those are the main 3 levels I'll be looking for, right? For potential pullback into continuation even higher until obviously something happens to prove us otherwise, right? Which if that happens, I'll let you know. But as it stands right this very moment, any single pullback from NVIDIA, I do view as a very bullish pullback into most likely just, another high moving forward from that. So that's kind of the main way I'll be looking at NVIDIA right now, and kind of the main way I'll be kind of, eyeballing the overall situation the stock is in, right? Here's another example, right? When we had this rally from up here and we pulled back here, we can also make an argument, the fact that we pulled back into the green Fibonacci's and we, had a beautiful rally off of that. Now, obviously, if that were to happen here, that would be a very deep pullback. If we go to 205, for instance, that would mean NVIDIA has to come back all the way down to the low 180s. I don't think we'll go down that low, to be completely honest with you. I actually don't think we'll do that. I think the worst case scenario for NVIDIA on any pullback is the 618 Fibonacci, the red line here, which is about the high 180s. I think that's like the worst case scenario. But even that sometimes, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't go that low. My main focus, 195 down to 191. This would be my main focus right around this overall region. It's kind of, get like a little bit of a bull flag setup right here. Beautiful setup, high tight flag, and then we head higher. That'll be like the most ideal scenario I'll be looking for. And today's today's rally is also on very, very high volume. So overall, things are looking pretty good. I definitely watch for 205 as early as tomorrow. Once the stock gets going, it does like to get a bit euphoric. So it really wouldn't shock me to see 205 tomorrow. But again, watch for it in those $5 increments. If we start going above 205 and closing above 205, then 210 is next. But again, I do think the stock is starting to get a little bit extended here in the short term, very distant from the 9 email on the daily. 4-hour SMI is still near the top of the range. So I definitely think 205 is most likely going to be kind of that current ceiling, if you will. And then we get a rejection, come back to the fibs, cool off, reset the SMIs, 1 hour, 4 hour, come back to the EMAs as well. EMAs come to us, we're bullish, 4 hours cooled off, and then we set up the absolute perfection of a situation here just to continue higher off of a bullish continuation pattern. So that's kind of the overall perspective I see right now. But the stock, again, today's movement is undeniably bullish, right? You can't look at this and say it's bearish. I mean, it's just, you can't. You just can't. I'm sorry. You can't. It's very, very bullish, other than the fact that it's a little extended here short term. But all in all, that's kind of how I see it, guys. Very, very nice movement. Very, very bullish stock. Very, very powerful movement overall. And yeah, we broke past what could have been a situation that would have been a bit more dire, which is also very good. So very nice, very bullish reaction on the stock. Let's take a look at the options flow. What do we have happening over here? 1.2 million, actually 225 call came in, very aggressive. Actually, this one just came in 3 minutes before the market closed. Actually, 1.2 million call came in here, 225, and another one here for 1 million as well. Also just 5 minutes before the market closed, someone put in about 2 million worth of orders. 225 call November 21st. Very aggressive as well. Again, I wouldn't be surprised. It really wouldn't shock me if NVIDIA does something like this. Come back to 205, reject, come back down mid to low 190s, worst case scenario, and then it rockets even higher into earnings. And I think by earnings, honestly, yeah, a move to about 210 to 220, yeah, really wouldn't fully shock me. Something like this. That's kind of my current perspective. Let's see. That's my kind of base case. Stock is very bullish, guys. There's no other way to put it. Now it's just, any pullbacks are bullish opportunities. That's all it is, guys. Nothing more, nothing less. But buying up here, you are definitely playing with fire. You are buying, in my opinion, a pretty heated stock, a pretty, overextended short-term stock. It's good to have patience in these kind of situations. Let the stock come back to your levels, come back to, key support levels, key, Fibonacci levels, key exponential moving average levels. And then you slowly re-enter, and then you slowly get nice ride it back up to, the next level higher as well. Pretty simple stuff there. So let's see how that plays out. But all in all, very bullish movement, guys. Stock is very bullish. Yeah, it's looking good. I see no reason to be bearish on the stock by any means whatsoever, especially after this movement. But all in all, thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.